So, the Switch 2 came out, just in case you've been living under a rock.
Who are you people?
And it was a huge flop, all because of our gamer boycott. Gamers said that they have had enough of Nintendo, and they did not participate in the launch of the Switch 2 at all. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, I'm wrong. And they're actually having trouble keeping up with stock. Oh, what's that? My channel sucks, and I can go f myself. That was my mother, and she's a big Nintendo fan.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Now, it's no secret that gamer boycotts almost never work. In fact, in time, they've become notorious for not working at all whatsoever. And recently, one of my favorite creators, Mutahar from SomeOrdinaryGamers, spoke out about Nintendo and some of their practices, which led to many gamers believing that he was done with Nintendo. However, in one of his latest videos, he bought the Nintendo Switch 2.
Why, I'm not buying that Switch 2 right now, said the Indian guy. The Switch 2's sitting on his desk.
How dare you? A tech channel that buys tech to break down their hardware and software bought tech to, let me guess, break down their hardware and software? What a convenient excuse, Mutahar. I think you owe us gamers an apology.
I did in fact commit a hypocrisy. I made a mistake. I should have not bought this product. And for that, it's actually a pretty big apology.
Oh, well, okay. You're forgiven. You're welcome. But I will not be using Linux. That is too complicated for my little peanut brain. So that got me thinking, why don't gamer boycotts work? Or when do they work? And the most recent example I can remember of one working is Helldivers 2. After Helldivers 2 came out, Sony decided to implement a mandatory policy. This was after the game was successful, forcing gamers to link their PSN accounts to their Steam accounts, which wasn't received very well at all. Players were pissed and went to the internet to express their outrage.
PC players, of course, love being told what to do, and there was immense backlash against this decision.
Now, you might be wondering, why is this such a big deal? Well, many gamers enjoyed PC games for the freedoms that come along with not being tied to the console's ecosystem. Like for me and my totally real friends.
757.
Alright, gang, what are we doing after this?
Look, I don't really know you besides the fact that I see you in here every day and you just follow us around. Please stop.
Alright, see you guys tomorrow. We just don't feel like we need another account to sign into, because that always leads to companies making another launcher to sign into. We just want to play our game we bought on Steam. And when you start adding all these elements, gamers begin to feel exhausted and they log off. And that's what we did. And this move also alienated a big majority of the player base because PSN wasn't available or isn't available in some countries. On top of all of that, it's a PvE-based shooter where mods and unfortunate cases of cheaters really have no effect on overall gameplay for most users.
Yeah, so PC players need to link a PlayStation Network account to their Steam account before June 6th to be able to keep playing Helldivers. Why? Dude, I don't know. Ask him. Ask me what? Why do I need a PlayStation Network account to play Helldivers on Steam? Because I said so?
So, linking the PSN account to have such control over the player base seemed a bit much. Players banded together to voice their frustration everywhere and anywhere that could be seen or heard. And the boycott worked. Sony has now rolled back these changes and restored access to the players in countries that were negatively affected. But why did it work? Well, for starters, it had a lot of support from the dev team of Helldivers 2. That's one good reason, but is that the main reason? No, not really. It's very rare that something like that happens, and I don't think it was stubborn gamers like myself who are just exhausted from all the launchers and sign-ins. It was most likely the alienating of the player base. You see, most boycotts don't work because they don't have enough support, and it's usually the same keyboard warriors you see online posting over and over about their boycott, about whatever it is that they're into or not into that week, giving the illusion to onlookers that there might be big support of that boycott. But when all of this happened and Sony made it mandatory to have a PSN account and alienated whole countries, well, basically they made it mandatory for them to support this boycott. Oh, and also, that's like half the world that they weren't able to get the one thing they care about, money.
Here we go, money talk. Here comes the money.
Another clear example was the original Xbox One. At the time, Xbox was on top of the world, with the Xbox 360, Halo, Gears of War, and Fable blowing gamers away. But then, Microsoft wanted it to be mandatory that users were always online with their console, introducing the Xbox One.
Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Holy shit. I forgot all about how bad the Xbox One was, and this is reminding me that it's no wonder that Microsoft has barely recovered from this terrible moment in time. Anyway, let's get back on track. Games would have forced DRM checks, no game sharing, mandatory Kinect usage, and cameras in your living room. Their whole showcase was less about games and more about your TV.
Xbox. Watch TV. 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 TV.
Television.
Television. Television. Television. TV. TV. TV.
Xbox is about to become the next water cooler.
What kind of shit is that?
And all of this for a higher price than their competitors, basically setting Sony up for a slam dunk. Multiple slam dunks.
I'm very proud to announce that PlayStation 4 will be available at $399.
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. In addition, PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play.
This is how you share your games on PS4. Thanks.
And you might have noticed that a lot of these things are things that we're kind of used to today, which could make you ask, why did this boycott work? Well, Xbox didn't do the marketing tactic of drip feeding these changes into the gamer economy, but instead they just tried to rip the band-aid off without working with their competitors, and well, the competition took advantage of it. Something like that won't really happen today, and gamers seem to not really care at all about their lack of ownership over their console, and that's because of a lack of choices. This was a time when there was less of an oligopoly between the big three, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, and there was a lot more competition. The player had choices. Now with competition all but gone due to unified greed within the game industry, the boycott worked because you had options, and those options are slowly fading away. So why didn't the players' boycott against Nintendo work today? You could say it's fear of missing out. You could say some people have a lack of self-control and just don't want to miss out on what everybody's talking about. And you could say that these changes are going to happen whether we like it or not. They're too big to fail. But I would honestly say it's because Nintendo provides quality. Again, I've said before, I don't really plan on getting into Nintendo's new console, at least not right now, and that there's problems with how they manage business and some other practices. But it's undeniable that Nintendo games do have quality and access to a new piece of hardware that will allow you to re-explore your favorite games like Breath of the Wild at a better frame rate and an overall better look. It kind of makes it easy to understand why people would overlook some of these things that might not really bother them as much as a gamer like me or a gamer like you. And most boycotts that do work, it's because of a long period of lacking said quality. You can look at companies like Ubisoft and EA that appear to not be affected by any boycott. But it is clear that people are growing tired of their antics. It's not a unified movement, but instead multiple individuals boycotting for one reason or another. I would argue that no one even knows that they're boycotting, but universally, everyone says something like, these companies suck. So when boycotts work, it's because the company you're boycotting has competition. The players have options. It's mandatory, and there's just a lack of quality over time, losing the players' respect.
Every gamer boycott is one 3-minute cinematic away from being over.
Hey, he's right!
But for right now, I'm in the gamer boycott and I will not be purchasing one. And if you like this video as much as I disliked watching this video,
there was a person who said, hey, I'm on a nuclear sub. Right. And I don't even know what it means to be on a nuclear sub, but I've got to imagine that it's not easy to get an internet connection.
Well then, please smash like. It lets the algorithm know that I'm worth the watch. If you think so, I would like to think so. And subscribe to join my scooter gang. We provide top-tier scooter lessons and fight bikers on site. We will win if our numbers keep growing and the streets will be quieter, and that's pretty cool. That's a great thing, I think. Okay, bye. Because now everybody wants to be the next Fortnite without ever stopping to ask what makes Fortnite so successful.
It's free. It's free. Free. It's free.